Tonight on The Big Story, out of what many now call Senate flicks, more test cases are coming for the deeply divided chamber in the coming days. One member still missing the action next week, Bato de la Rosa. The NBI is checking out a report the ICC wanted lawmaker was spotted on a yacht. As for Senator Jinggoy Estrada, it looks like he now wants the same reprieve given to former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan, who's now on hospital arrest. And Davao Mayor Baste Duterte allows the dumping of garbage outside the DNR 11 office after the agency closed the city's landfill. Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon. The flood control scandal takes center stage again at the Senate. This time, leading the probe is Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Erwin Tulfo. And this one will go on the chamber's record, unlike the one held yesterday. There's also expectation the new majority bloc will have more members. Mian Los Baños has tonight's big story.
Another hearing on the flood control scandal is happening on Monday, June 8th. But this time, it's on record and will be led by Senate Blue Ribbon Chair Erwin Tulfo. Tulfo was elected on June 3rd, the same day when Gatchalian was installed as Senate President pro tempore. That shake-up in leadership stood on a quorum of 12, something that the group of Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is still contesting. The Cayetano faction also did a probe of their own on Thursday, June 4, and invited 18 self-proclaimed former Marines. One of them, Bernard Gumban, claimed to have delivered suitcases of money to Senator Erwin Tulfo twice. The lawmaker has denied this, even inviting the ex-soldiers over on Monday's hearing.
The mere fact po na in-invite namin sila kasi para wala sila masabi na tinatago namin, pinagtatakpan namin.
Tulfo also extended the invitation to senators allied with Cayetano, who was insisted that he is still Senate President.
Sumama na kayo ditong 5 dyan sa minority para makapagtanong kayo, makapag-imbestigat. Tsaka sa Lunes po, bawal na po yung mga surprise witness. Dapat po ibigay nila sa Blue Ribbon yung mga gusto lang imbitahan.
Tulfo likewise let on ongoing negotiations of at least 2 senators now willing to join the new majority bloc.
Yung isa nga po, hindi niya alam paano kakalas dahil number 1, natatakot na talagang matutulad po sa amin na kaliwat kanan titirahin ng mga troll, ng mga vlogger. Pero hindi niya po matiis dahil may pressure po sa family niya, his children or her children na lumipat na po kayo kasi nakakahiya sa mga classmate namin, sa mga workmates namin. Pati sa church po, tinatanong po siya.
But Senator Cayetano doubts he will be abandoned by the same colleagues who made him SP on May 11.
Confident ako na pare-parehong prinsipyo namin and that we'll make the right decisions together. Parang gusto ko nang sabihin dalawa sa kanila na pairam nyo na yung boto kasi ang hirap ng pinagdadaanan nila.
Cayetano is also hitting on the executive. Recall that President Bongbong Marcos has called on the Senate to get back to work after 2 days of no session.
I will assert my authority, legitimacy as Senate President. I will write the letters. I will perform my duty. Then let's see kung anong gawin ng Malacanang.
Over at the palace, Press Officer Claire Castro warned against what she called forces of darkness. Columnist Ramon Tulfo had revealed an alleged plan by pro-Duterte groups to storm Malacanang on June 12, Independence Day. But Castro says for now, the plot is unconfirmed, but law enforcers will be on their toes. The Undersecretary added the threat is nothing new. Meantime, former Senate Presidents Coco Pimentel, Mig Subiri, Tito Soto, and Franklin Drilon issued a joint statement, part of which reads, "Those of us who once held the gavel know that the highest duty of a Senate President is not to cling to office, but to leave the institution stronger, more respected, and more firmly bound to the rule of law than when he or she found it." They called on all incumbent senators, regardless of bloc or affiliation, to de-escalate public rhetoric, confine their disagreements in the proper forum, and prioritize work. The former SPs also implored sitting senators to resolve the current crisis within the bounds of the Constitution and the Chamber's rules and long-standing practices. Kapatid mo, News 5, Mian Los Baños, we are One News.
Has the intense Senate leadership standoff created a constitutional gridlock? Let's ask our first guest tonight, one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution, Attorney Rene Sarmiento. Welcome to The Big Story, sir.
Good evening, Ses, Pauline, and Sean. Magandang gabi po sa kanilang lahat.
Okay. Does the Constitution have an answer to what now looks like, even if there is a new majority, the other bloc is insisting that they still hold the reins of power in the Senate?
Carol, may sagot po ang ating saligang batas at ang ating Korte Suprema sa tanong mo. Especially yung sa Section 16, nakalagay po doon, members of each house, at ang interpretation po ng ating Korte Suprema at ang US Supreme Court, ang ibig sabihin po niyan ay physical majority that will constitute a constitutional quorum or constitutional majority. Yung physical majority po ng mga senador na nandun po sa sesyon, that will be the meaning, yan po ibig sabihin ng members of each house.
Right. Pero po, pagdating sa pagboto ng Senate President, kailangan ng 13. It's explicit in the Constitution?
Nakalagay po sa ating Rule 2 ng Rules of the Senate March 2025. Dapat po ay majority of all members of the House. So ibig sabihin po 13. 13 po ang bilang. But ito pong sitwasyon natin sa Senado ay kakaiba po dahil po nung tinawag po ang pulong, wala po yung isang grupo at ang nangyari po dyan, less our Senator De La Rosa and Senator Jinggoy, so 22, so 12. Pwede pong 12 ang pwedeng bumoto for the Senate President. As a matter of fact, an acting Senate President was elected by the physical majority.
All right. So the count is tama po, -2 dahil at large ang isa nagtatago po sa batas, ang isa naman ay nakakulong. So tama po na bibilangin ang 22 dahil ang giit po ng kabila ay dapat manatiling 24 ang bilang.
Yan po ay niresolve na ng ating Korte Suprema SES. Nas-resolve na ng Korte Suprema ng Estados Unidos in 1892. So ibig sabihin po kung wala po yung iba, hindi physically present, kung sino po ang present, yung physical majority or numeric majority shall constitute the constitutional quorum. Yan po ibig sabihin. Kaya nga po, says ang aking position dyan, to resolve this issue once and for all, dapat po ay dalhin sa Korte Suprema to prevent the impasse. Sa Abilino versus Cuenco says, binanggit ng Korte Suprema doon na there is grave danger, there is a crisis. If this is not resolved, is it Supreme Court or revolution ang wording ng Abilino versus Cuenco? Ayaw po natin ng revolusyon o kaguluhan. To prevent this impasse, this gridlock or logjam, sa tingin ko po, says, ay panahon na para dalhin po sa Korte Suprema and resolve the impasse.
Because in Avellino versus Cuenco, hindi rin po masyadong malinaw ang Korte Suprema dun sa kanilang kasagutan po.
6-4 po ang botohan po doon, says, no? At sabi ng anim na ito ay physical majority ang kailangan lang po kung wala po yung iba, kung nag-walk out o hindi umattend, physical majority who are present in the session, siya po ang bubuo ng constitutional quorum. Kung titingnan po natin yung nangyari po sa Senado noon, ang physical majority was 12. So, majority of the 22 members of the Senate.
This means then that the action taken by the group of Senator Gatchalian was legal and according to the Constitution.
Says from the point of view of that decision and the earlier case of U.S. Balien, an 1892 U.S. Supreme Court decision, yung ginawa po ng ating isang grupo led by Senator Gatchalian ay legal and constitutional po.
Ngayon po yung kabila, the group led by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, hindi ko po maintindihan kung bakit wala sila doon ng 3 araw. Tapos sa kahapon naman po ay nag-attend ang marami sa kanila sa Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. Meron po bang pagkukulang ang ginawa ng kanilang grupo dahil sa as senators? Were they abdicating their duties as senators po?
Says with due respect to that group led by our Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano, mukhang nagkulang po sila sa kanilang responsibilidad because the purpose of a Senate is deliberative and physical attendance. So, ilang provision po sa ating saligang batas. Ang binabanggit po ay physical, when say attendance, ay physical attendance. Because the very nature of a Senate is a deliberative assembly. Dapat nag-uusap-usap po. The word Congress comes from the Latin word congressus, ibig sabihin meeting with. Kaya ibig sabihin po, nagkikita-kita sila, nag-uusap, at present po lahat.
So, sa Lunes po ay gagawin na ang tunay na Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. Ano po ang advice ninyo dito sa mga senador? Especially those in the minority because they're digging their heels, they are justifying their actions kahit na po hindi po sang-ayon sa konstitusyon.
Says, ako po ay umaapila sa ating kagagalan ng mga senador na nagmula sa dalawang kampo. Marino pong Article 11, Accountability of Public Officers, meaning serve with utmost responsibility, act with patriotism. Nanggampanan ang trabaho po nila. Ngayon, if this cannot be resolved internally among themselves, nandyan po ang Korte Suprema natin that resolves constitutional conflicts and the bulwark of rights and liberties, sabi ng isang justice sa kasong yan. So pwedeng ihain ang isang petition for quo warranto to resolve once and for all. This is with due respect to both sides na nahalal ng ating taong bayan.
Tama rin po ba na hindi sila bumoto para sa posisyon na Senate President dahil kailangan po yung majority ang bilang ay 24? Tama po.
Sa tingin ko, says at that time when it convened, may poder sila maghalal. Although sinasabi po ng ating rules of the Senate, dapat po except for the election of the Senate President, dapat members of the entire House of all. So pinagpaliban po ng ating grupo ni Senator Gatchalian. Pero sa tingin ko po at the time, based on the two decisions I have mentioned, pwede po maghalal ng Senate President kahit na acting President and members and officers of the Senate.
But isn't the Constitution very explicit that it has to be majority of all?
Okay. Yung majority of all, sabi ko nga, says, kung walang iba, yung physically present. But if they are all present, no, another scenario, nandun lahat. So pwede pong, they can elect a regular Senate President following that provision in the Constitution.
So hindi ho kailangan ng bilang yung kompletong 24? Because
Hindi po, totoo po yan, says, because number one, wala po si Senator De La Rosa, wala po si Senator Jinggoy Estrada. In one experience that we had under Senator Franklin Drilon, may mga absent dahil po may kaso o nasa ibang bansa. Tinuloy po at yung 17 po constituted the physical majority as constitutional forum.
In your deliberations when you're crafting the Constitution, were you imagining these scenarios?
Says honestly and candidly, hindi po. Beyond our contemplation that this will happen, hindi po namin naisip yung nangyari sa Avelino versus Cuenco na nagkagulin po sa Senado, may 1,000 per audience na nagkagulo, may suntukan po sa gallery. This was beyond our contemplation, says because you are thinking of a Senate that is serious, that is deliberative, and always thinking of the common good.
So in hindsight, what are you thinking?
Well, sa hindsight, baka nga, nagkulang kami. Honestly, no? But I see these things, says, as blessings in disguise. Because from this experience, we can craft laws and provisions later on in the Constitution. For after all, says constitutions are the product of tempestuous times, product of wars and revolutions and the rebellions. From this experience, yayaman po ang ating saligang batas.
Huwag lang po sanang tumagal.
Says about tumagal, no? The Avila versus Cuenco petition was filed. Nangyari po February 21, no? February 21, 1949. The case was decided March 4, 1949. Less than 3 weeks, the Supreme Court acted on it speedily. So sana po ang ating Korte Suprema within the 3 weeks time or even 2 weeks should resolve this issue once and for all. Maikli po sa Abilino versus Cuenco.
Okay. Now, dito po sa nalalapit na impeachment trial ni VP Sara, mahihirapan po ba ang isang acting president or presiding officer, as they call Senator Gatchalian, na mag-preside dito po sa impeachment?
Says we have two groups contesting positions at hindi pa ho nagkakasundo. Sa tingin ko po, this has to be resolved once and for all. If not by them, by the Supreme Court. Otherwise, you have this stalemate, this logjam or impasse that cannot be resolved. Sabi nga ni Justice Perfectus Avila versus Cuenco, let us avoid threats of violence or kaguluhan, and only the Supreme Court can resolve this impasse.
Okay. Nalimutan ko palang tanungin po, yung hearing na isinagawa kahapon na, well, unofficial, considered unofficial, are the senators liable for certain legal consequences, such as maybe libel, because their names were maligned and well, there were some senators accused of receiving maletas of cash.
Now, it was unofficial, says, because we have an elected acting president and other officers of the Senate. So, yan po ay tinulo yung hearing kahapon ng isang araw. Names were mentioned in that proceeding at as you have said, were maligned. So that is one, there's a possibility na pwede po mag-file silang appropriate complaint against persons responsible for the accusation.
All right, once again, we thank you for sharing your insights and your wisdom with us. Attorney Rene Sarmiento, one of the framers of our Constitution.
Maraming salamat, Ses, and to our listeners. Salamat po.
And meantime, the manhunt for Senator Bato de la Rosa continues. At the moment, the National Bureau of Investigation is verifying reports he was seen on a yacht. Bato's destination was unknown. The NBI is also checking if the sighting is a deliberate attempt at misdirection.
Check pa natin. Hindi ko pa nakita yan eh.
Wala po. Ano yung post na po yun?
Baka kasi nililigaw tayo, kaya maingat tayo.
The NBI believes De La Rosa is still in the Philippines, with flight seen as a severe complication to his case. Senator Bato is wanted by the International Criminal Court as co-conspirator in the case over the Duterte drug war. Meantime, the NBI will formally ask the senator's wife, Nancy, to explain the circumstances surrounding his escape.
Well, we are sending her a letter instead na isabihin na siya. Sulatan namin siya to explain. Kasi ang gusto naming malaman naman dun is yung kung nagpadala ba talaga siya ng mensahe kay Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano at yun yung binasa mismo ni Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Sinabi dun yung term na escape eh. Tapos yung shooting yun.
The Sandigan Bayan has allowed former Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan to be placed under hospital arrest. The court granted Bonoan's request on humanitarian grounds, citing his advanced age and several serious medical conditions. But the anti-graft court did not allow him to remain in a private hospital. Bonoan has to stay at the PNP General Hospital in Camp Crame. The court also directed doctors to conduct an independent medical evaluation. Meanwhile, the camp of Senator Jinggoy Estrada could also seek hospital arrest. Lawyer Noel Ostrea said Estrada suffers from osteoarthritis and fluid buildup in his knee joint. Estrada and Bonoan are both facing graft and plunder charges over the flood control scandal.
As you can see, maski na nakaupo lang siya in the Quezon City Jail, nahihirapan siya.
Pero yung hospital arrest mo
There's
ba
a,
in a public
parang
or-
you could consider it a potential pain management issue.
You're watching the big story on One News. Better gas up in the next few days. Fuel is getting more expensive again on June 9. By how much? We will tell you after the break.
I stand my ground because what is at stake here goes far beyond my personal circumstances. What is at stake here is the independence of the Senate.
What happened today was a clear abandonment of responsibility, dereliction of duty. Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano should resign, as he has shown that he cannot function as the leader of the Senate anymore.
The 69th session of the Senate, in the first regular session of the 20th Congress, is hereby called to order. With 12 senators present, the chair declares a quorum.
Oh my God! Senator, andito siya, Secretary John Vic Rimulya at pinipigil siya, Senator Rocky Padilla. Oh my God!
And what a week it was for the Senate and for this one member. A movement called Risa na 2028 was launched today in support of the possible presidential run of Senator Risa Ontiveros. The push is from Akbayan, Magdalo, and other groups made up of women, youth, and labor. At the UP Bahay alumni earlier today, a signature wall stood to prompt Ontiveros to take a shot at the top post. Ontiveros has yet to declare, but she has since said she is open to the idea of being standard bearer for the traditional opposition. And one staunch supporter of Risa is with us tonight. Welcome to the big story, former Senator Sani Trillanes.
Yes, good evening, Mrs.
Good evening. Explain to us why you think Risa is the best candidate for 2028.
Una po muna, no? I think kailangan munang ma-explain kung bakit ni-launch itong Risa na movement at this time. So ang kwan po is napapanahon na magkaroon ng isang pinuno yung middle forces, kasi ngayon parang orphaned, ano? Kasi si Mayor Lenny decided na talaga mag full-time na siya doon sa Naga. So wala mo yung namumuno. So ito na ngayon ang reason. Tapos in light of what's happening right now in the Senate as impeachment, kailangan talagang may gumagabay dito sa mga middle forces na ito. Then pangalawa, ito nga yung 2028. Kasi yung preparation should start early, kasi nung last time it did not work at sila Sara nagsimula na, so kailangan magsimula na rin. Now si Risa, aside do sa kanyang qualifications na alam naman natin na talagang nag-excel siya in her previous mga professions, educational background. Then, yung kanyang pinakita ng pakikipaglaban para sa iba't ibang interes ng mamamayan. So, tsaka hindi siya na-intimidate sa mga dambuhalang mga politiko na nag-o-oppress ng mga kababayan natin. So, with all this, siya talaga ang nararapat.
So since you're supporting her bid, will you submit her name to the process that the traditional opposition will have in choosing a single candidate for the group?
Actually, we were the ones who pushed for that. Since last year, we have been trying to consolidate all those who are interested in running for the 2028 elections. But then Mayor Lenny begged off from that, and Senator Bam is non-committal. So it's only Senator Risa who is left. So ganun po, kaya nawala na yung proseso na yun.
Wala na ba? Hindi na yun. I understand there's 3 different groups within the opposition that are trying to make a sort of primary kind of process.
Yun nga po, no, marami pong mga iba't ibang sektor na kasama doon. I'm part of that facilitating group. Early on, hanggang late last year, tapos early this year, we have been pushing, simula na yung proseso. Kaso nga, nung kinukuha yung commitment ng mga prospective candidates, nag-beg off si Mayor Lenny, tapos non-committal si Senator Bam. So isa lang ang open to running.
I understand your concern na parang wala nang time kung mag-aantay pa. Pero how do you feel that, ang dami pa rin nag-aantay sa mga hanay ninyo na magpalit ng isip si Mayor Lenny? So hanging kayong lahat because there's still that hope that she will run for president again.
Dalawa ho kasi ang option, Mrs. Is either you do something or you do nothing.
That's true.
Kung sasabihin mo mag-aantay ka, next year pa raw eh. Paano yun? So in the meantime, we're giving Sara Duterte a head start. Paano naman yun? Para naman tayong malakas na pinapartidahan natin yung kalaban. Remember, it did not work noong 2022. I don't see any reason why it would work now. Tapos marami na rin mga taong ready to go na at nirerespeto nila yung desisyon ni Mayor Lenny na hindi na siya tatakbo ng national at tatapusin niya yung 3 terms niya sa Naga.
Di bakit hindi nyo kunin ang endorsement ni Mayor Lenny?
Yun nga po ang inaasam natin na since nagsabi na siyang hindi siya tatakbo, dapat it's incumbent upon her to endorse kung sino man, either si Senator Bam or si Senator Risa. But it's up to her. Ngayon, kasi I believe marami nang nagpilit o nagsubok na i-convince siya, pero steadfast siya sa kanyang decision na she will finish her term in Naga.
Okay. Now, if we can go to the happenings at the Senate, and madalas mong katunggali si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano noong nandun pa kayong magkasama.
Yes.
Is there a chance, will he give in or will he, knowing him, will he insist that he still is the legitimate Senate President?
Knowing Alan, he will exhaust all means para manatili siya sa pwesto. So, meron na siyang history when he was the Speaker sa House of Representatives. Hindi niya inonor yung term sharing agreement na pinag-agreehan nila with Congressman Lord Velasco. So, when his time was up, ang ginawa niya, he lobbied initially kay then Mayor Sara Duterte. Nung inisnab siya, punta siya kay Digong, na sinasabihan na siya na you honor the agreement pero hindi niya kayang i-honor. So kinandado niya yung session hall. Tapos prevent niya yung grupo nila Congressman Velasco from entering the session hall until it was really untenable. So, yun doon lang siya nag-give in. So, ganun din yung gagawin niya dito.
So we
I
expect
think-
more efforts to still cling on.
Yes. Kasi in denial stage pa siya ngayon eh.
Okay.
Hindi pa niya matanggap na natanggal siya.
Wala
no?
pa siya sa
So,
acceptance and ano ba yung next?
yan, acceptance stage. Ngayon, nasa anger stage siya eh. Parang inaano niya eh. Kumaga, nilalaban pa niya. He refused to accept na naisahan siya. Eh, kaso maliwanag eh. Yung mga nangyari. Tapos nawalan na sa kanya. Yung mga empleyado ng Senado, ang sinusunod na si Acting Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian. So yun na yun. De facto leader na talaga si Senator Win.
You know, Senator, maraming are contemplating filing cyber libel charges against the I don't know if you can call them soldiers, ex-Navy men,
Yes,
some of
ex-soldiers.
them, who, and your name was again mentioned, pati yung ICC at etc. Are you also going to do the same? Because apparently this is not considered an official hearing, and so they don't have parliamentary immunity.
Yes, Mrs. Our lawyers are already preparing the complaint. Tinitignan kung sino dun sa 18 ang nagsalita specifically against me. So yun, but for
Yung mga
sure
senador,
isasama na namin.
Yung mga
Yes,
senador, meron ba silang liability?
meron po kasi wala silang parliamentary immunity dahil rogue committee hearing ito. So isasama po namin sa asunto itong si Alan Cayetano at saka si Marcoleta.
Ngayon naman, let me turn to what is an alleged planned mass protest next week in support of VP Sara. They are, some observers say, using the situation to further inflame their followers, I suppose. Ano ba ang naririnig po ninyo? At, well, we know, sanay kayo sa mga pag-aaklas na ganyan.
Yes, Mrs. We're getting very credible information na may mga planong destabilization within the next few weeks, including itong nakaraan, yung kahapon. Supposed to be, sumusuntok sila sa buwan. They were hoping na by implicating the first family dito sa corruption scandal, magkokos ito ng outrage sa taong bayan, then eventually withdrawal of support from the AFP. So yun po ang isang intention nila kahapon. At nag-mobilize iba't ibang grupo. We have already identified yung mga tao, kung saan nanggaling yung mga tao na yun, sino nagpagalaw. Tapos may mga meetings na rin ng mga retiradong mga general from the camp nila Duterte, trying to convince the active members of the AFP to join them and withdraw support. No? So far, wala naman pong kumakagat. They've been at it since the past 2.5 years. Pero yun nga, hindi sila sumasama dahil they don't relish the prospect of turning over the reins of power to Sara Duterte as the successor. Dahil siya ay pro-China at some generals believe na psychologically unstable si Sara Duterte.
So you're saying there's no support from the military that's forthcoming even if there are talks?
Yes, so far po. So far, we're not ruling out anything. Dapat vigilant yung mga otoridad, yung AFP leadership. Kailangan they should continue to engage the at least command structure.
So
Dahil meron pong,
itong mga nakakausap mo ba sa military, are they active and are they, that candid about their comments?
comments against.
The VP, like you said, some are fearing that mentally
Yeah.
unstable. Ganun ka forthright sila magsalita?
Yes. Kasi pagka naman in confidence kasi ang conversation, you need that para makuha mo talaga yung pulso. Kasi kung guarded palagi yung conversations, hindi mo makukuha kung ano ba talaga ang saloobin nila. So, ganon yung assessment nila. Kumaga, maliwanag po sa kanila na pro-China and psychologically unstable. So, yun po ang nangyari.
Yun ang active members ito. Active officers.
Yes. Active officers from different, ranks.
Branches of
Ngayon,
service.
opo, tsaka different levels of the officer corps. Pero ito po, we're not ruling out, meron pong mga maka-Duterte. Yan po, sa enlisted personnel,
If I
tsaka
may interrupt,
officer.
ang tinaas niya
Yes.
ang sahod nila, ang mga benefits during the term of President Duterte.
Pero ganito po, titingnan natin yung history. Si President Marcos talagang inalagaan ang armed forces. Talagang siya ang gumawa ng indexation ng retirement tsaka yung base pay. Grabe ang suporta ni President Marcos, but eventually, ganun nangyari. Kay President Erap, ganun din, alaga din niya yung mga sundalo. Meron pang subsidy ng 1 sakong bigas per month yung mga sundalo. Talagang mahal na mahal siya, and yet there was a withdrawal of support. Di ko ba? So, it doesn't follow. Kasi alam nila kung ano yung tama, ano yung mali. Pero, ito po yan.
Okay.
Yung mga maka-Duterte na officers, hindi na napopromote. Yun ang masasabi natin. Na-marginalize na sila.
Oh. Bakit ganon? Are they capable naman? Is that...
Ganito po kasi yan, sa Board of Generals, pag nagbibigay sila ng mga recommendations, eventually, yung sa selection, prerogative ng mga commanders. Lahat sila capable dun sa shortlist na yon.
Okay.
Pero ano sila alam niyo yung mga blind followers ni Duterte, iba ang nakita niyo yung si General Aplaska, yung sa Sergeant at Arms. Ganon ang mindset ng mga Duterte. Talagang may sense of impunity.
So wala silang kakayanan, if ever, to wala silang troops, itong mga Duterte allied military.
Sa ngayon po, kaya nga sinasabi ko we're not ruling out any scenario kasi isang political impasse lang can be an opening. Kasi ganyan na nangyari dun sa EDSA 2.
Yeah.
They thought mag-fizzle out yung rallies after 3 days. But eventually, nagtuloy-tuloy. Ganun na nga po nangyari. So, hindi talaga pwede magkumpiyansa kasi determinado po yung kampo nila Sara na labanan na itong impeachment at makabalik sila sa poder, whether 2028 or earlier.
Pero ganito pa rin ba yung playbook na kailangan withdrawal of support from the military? It's old playbook.
Yeah. Pero so far in history, yun po yung nag-work. EDSA 1 and EDSA 2. Both are technically withdrawal of support. Yung mga ginawa namin noon, ginawa ng RAM, yung classic coup d'etat, hindi naman po nag-work yun. So, ito yung kanila. Tapos, ang very safe pa yan dun sa mga plotters kasi dudungaw lang sila pagka nasa brink na. Kaya hindi sila pwedeng ikulong prematurely kasi hindi pa naman tumatawid ng linya. So, kaya ganyan po ang nangyari.
Okay. Now, let me ask you personally, ano naman ang plano ninyo sa 2028? Are you campaigning for for Risa, or will you also once again will you try to return to the Senate?
I'm not planning to run na po sa 2028 for any position, but I am determined to support the rightful candidate. In this case, nakita po namin ng aming grupo ay si Senator Risa Hontiveros. So, kailangan po kasi merong default candidate. And until such time na pag nakita natin na may additional realignment of forces, so we will adapt accordingly. But si Senator Risa po yung nakikita namin.
And she has a chance kung one-on-one against VP Sara.
Yes, may internal surveys din po kami ngayon. Nung January nagkanda kami, itong April nagkanda kami, and her numbers are rising. Tapos nag-stagnate na yung numbers ni Sara. So yung mga undecided napupunta na kay Senator Risa. And pagka nagsimula na po yung impeachment, makikita ng mga kababayan natin na yung ubod ng kurakot ni Sara Duterte at tumatanggap sila sa illegal na droga. Tapos ito po ay unfit to hold public office. So pag nakita nila yan, marami pong lalagas dyan. We have seen it before nung kay then Vice President Binay. His numbers are way higher than where Sara is right now. But eventually it collapsed nung nakita ng mga kababayan natin yung mga iba't ibang uri ng korupsyon. So we're banking on that. Then there would be an opening for the entry of alternative candidates.
All right, we thank you for joining the big story, former Senator Sonny Trillanes. Now in other news, Davao Mayor Baste Duterte has blamed the DNR for the city's worsening garbage problem. The Environment Department earlier suspended operations of the city's main landfill. In response, Duterte ordered the establishment of a garbage collection point outside the DNR's regional office, making the area look like a dump site. The sanitary landfill in Barangay New Carmen was ordered closed after a trash slide last May 20. That tragedy left 2 people dead and another person missing. The DNR said it has been working closely with the Davao City government to address issues in its solid waste management system. The agency insisted the suspension was necessary to allow safety improvements in the landfill. Most people know their money by sight, but FYI, our polymer banknotes now have special features to also help the visually impaired identify different denominations by touch. Mobile Journal Ray Vicente has this story.
Did you know that there are markers on polymer banknotes to determine its denomination? The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas made this tactile dots feature particularly to aid the visually impaired and elderly to identify the money.
Sinusulong po ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas ang pagiging inclusive and accessible ng ating salapi para sa ating lahat ng mga Pilipino. Ito po ay yung mga highly embossed dots o yung pagkasinalat po natin ay nakaangat na mga marka sa isang bahagi po ng ating pera upang makilala po ng ating mga kababayan ng mga may kahinaan sa paningin at gayon din ang ating mga elderly o mga nakatatanda.
Located at the top left corner of the polymer, there are a number of dots assigned for each face value. This feature is embossed to easily distinguish the currency even if the person touches the dots lightly.
Ngayon po itong mga embossed dots na po ito, kung mapapansin niyo po, isa lang po ang kanyang location. Ito po yung accessible din sa unang kapak. Sa 1,000 po ay may 5 highly embossed dots na mapifeel po ng ating mga daliri. Kung ang nakakapa po nila ay 4, ito po ay 500 piso denomination. Nakakapa po natin na meron pong 3 highly embossed dots o marka. So ibig po sabihin nito, ang hawak po natin ay 100 piso denomination. 50 piso denomination, meron po siyang dalawang highly embossed dots sa portion po na ito.
However, a blind woman lamented that some dots are easily erased, making it difficult for identification. Yet for the likes of Joanne, visually impaired since birth, the new feature is still a huge help to her everyday routine.
Pagka po parang matagal na, parang medyo nabubura. Yung dot parang hindi siya malinaw pag hinawakan. Pag lumulubog, hahanapin ko muna. Talagang kakapain ko mabuti. Natuwa ako nung nalaman ko na lumabas ang polymer. Natuwa ako kasi malalaman na namin kung magkano yung value ng pera. Wala kaming idea. Yung sa mga dating pera, yung galing sa baka yung paper money, aayusin ko yung pera from highest to lowest.
Ito po ay resistant po siya sa moisture, sa dirt, at yun nga po sa pagtupi, no, at paggamit. Nakatulong po itong material nito para po manatili ding matibay yung mga security features. Ito po ay gawa sa plastic. At alam naman po natin, no, mas matagal ang buhay nito sa sirkulasyon.
Meanwhile, the central bank also shared coin sizes as a way to differentiate.
Habang pong lumalaki yung value o lumalaki po yung denomination ng ating coins, ay lumalaki din po yung kanyang size. As well as the edge o yung gilid po ng ating coins, iba-iba rin po yung mafe-feel nyo doon na mga ridges.
Kapatid Ray Vicente, we are One News.
This is a big story on One News. When we return, find out why netizens are shipping this so-called new love team.
Nakausap ni Risa. Nabigla ako kasi nakita ko si Senator Risa. Palabas na ako ng building. Si Senator Risa pala mahilig din sa dogs.
Tsaka sa Lunes po, bawal na po yung mga surprise witness. Dapat po ibigay nila sa Blue Ribbon, yung mga gusto lang imbitahan.
I will assert my authority, legitimacy as Senate President.
Welcome back to the big story. A Bulacan court has ordered the arrest of contractor couple Curly and Sara Diskaya and 8 others over the flood control scandal. Among those with warrants from the Malolos RTC are former DPWH engineers Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza and St. Timothy Construction President Roma Angeline Rimando. The charge? Malversation of public funds or property through falsification of public documents. This is not bailable. The case stems from a supposedly anomalous flood control project in Barangay Bulusan in Kalumpit, Bulacan. Curly Diskaya has been detained at the Senate since September 2025 for contempt, while his wife Sara is jailed in Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu for another case. Now, Filipino consumers are getting a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to their household budgets. Headline inflation slowed down, but a massive oil price hike is looming while many Filipinos are at risk of falling into poverty. More in this report.
Some breathing room for Filipino consumers as headline inflation hits 6.8% this May. This is a clear drop from April's 3-year high of 7.2%, although it is significantly higher than the 1.3% in May last year. State economists attribute the inflation slowdown to relief at the gas pumps, with transport price costs dropping significantly. Food and utilities also eased up, bringing the year-to-date average inflation down to 4.5%. Motorists may need to tighten their belts next week as a big-time oil price hike is expected. The DOE Oil Industry Management Bureau projects diesel prices going up by as much as 6 pesos per liter and kerosene by up to 8 pesos per liter. Gasoline, meanwhile, may slightly increase or remain unchanged. Oil Bureau Director Rini Obad said there may be supply tightness in June due to stabilization efforts tied to reserve adjustments in previous month.
Pumalma lang dahil dun sa panandalian na mga replacement volume. Inaasahan sana ng market na maaayos ngayong buwan na towards July ngayon pinoproject na nila yung August na magkakaroon ng panumbalik sana ng supply.
The World Bank warns that nearly 3 of 10 Filipinos are at risk of slipping into poverty due to higher food and fuel costs. In its Philippines Poverty and Equity Assessment released yesterday, the World Bank found that 27.7% of Filipinos are vulnerable to falling into poverty. Higher transport and energy costs are eating into food prices and household budgets. World Bank economist Liliana Souza says the poor and vulnerable households have no cushion, absorb the price shocks, making them the hardest hit. The World Bank also projects the Marcos administration to miss its single-digit poverty rate goal. The group expects this figure to decline to 12.3% by 2028 if the pre-pandemic relationship between growth and poverty reduction holds. The midterm update of the Philippine Development 2023 to 2028 has set an 8 to 9% target. Kapatid Mobile Journal, Daniel Dayaw, we are One News.
In other news, the week-long Brigada Eskwela ends. And after the weekend, school opens on Monday, June 8th. At the Commonwealth Elementary School in Quezon City, teachers, parents, and volunteers swept, mopped, and painted classrooms. Beneficiaries of the Tupad program were on hand to assist.
Bagay po para sa amin as parent, dagdag din po sa budget. Para po sa school supplies, saka yung pang-araw-araw po nilang baon, pamasahe.
Despite the cleanup, the school has another dilemma, the lack of classrooms. Commonwealth Elementary School still has to implement shifting of classes to accommodate all 7,000 of their enrollees. Then there's the challenge of a new trimester system kicking off this school year.
We'll just put them together in one shift. Talagang the school will be crowded, hindi kaya. Kaya there should be 2 shifting. So far, sir, na-accommodate naman po ang mga bata.
Meanwhile, in Hagonoy, Bulacan, the school supplies checklist also included rain gear. That's because whenever it's high tide in the area, the routes to school sort of become a water obstacle course.
Para hindi, syempre, madumi yung tubig. Para hindi sila magka-leptospirosis, nakakatakot din syempre.
Mahirap. Sinasabi na lang na sa teacher, pasensya na sila kasi ganyan nga ang sitwasyon sa amin.
And finally, it's not a bill or a hearing that has social media talking tonight, but an unexpected tandem. Our big picture tonight, Senate President Pro Tempore Sherwin Gatchalian and Senator Risa Ontiveros have been trending online after netizens began shipping them. The pair has been dubbed Winry on social media, with supporters creating posts, videos, and even a dedicated fan page. Some netizens have also highlighted the two senators' shared love for dogs, calling them fellow fur parents. Both Gatchalian and Ontiveros previously played key roles in Senate investigations into pogos, including the high-profile case of former Bamban Mayor Alice Guo. Here's a clip that has since gone viral among netizens.
Nakausap ni Risa. Bigla ako kasi nakita ko si Senator Risa, palabas na ako ng building. Si Senator Risa pala mahilig din sa dogs. Kita natin na kinakausap niya.
Naku, matutuwa si Sunny Trillanes dyan. And those are the big stories this week. I'm Ces Oreña Drilon. Kapatid, we are One News, your side all the time. Have a restful weekend.